This time on episode 328 of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we're going to discuss the season 2 finale of Jessica Jones, aka Playland, and some weekly Marvel news.
I'm Stephen John Drew from the official GonnaGeek.com show, a weekly geek news podcast that is a part of the Gonna Geek network, just like the show you're checking out now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other awesome geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
You have been granted clearance by director Alfonso Mack Mackenzie. Stand by for a S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents granted clearance by the S.H.I.E.L.D. director.
Now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Director SP.
And I'm Agent Michelle.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., a Marvel Comic Universe fan show. The show is recorded on Sunday, April 19th, 2020, live from the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. studios and broadcast worldwide via www.geeks.live. Come and join us in our live chat as we record. Michelle, happy National Garlic Day.
It's handy against vampires.
It is, and some people enjoy it in their food, and some people make a note not to eat it when they're going to be close to other people.
Yeah, because it's something you can smell from quite a distance.
Some people can eat it and they don't have the aroma from them or from their breath or whatever, but most people are not those people. But I do enjoy garlic. Do you enjoy the taste of garlic, or is this something that you just don't have in the kitchen?
Not a lot.
Okay. Well, we do have cloves, and every once in a while one will come out of the refrigerator door and it will lay in the ground, and then we'll have to throw it away because I'm not eating a clove that's been on the ground, even though you have to peel it back and get to the actual, I don't know, sieve, clove, whatever it is. And but we also have garlic presses where you actually press the garlic anyway. It's a seasoning. Some people use it for their food, some people don't. And there is no real history to this. But garlic originated over 7,000 years ago. So we thought we'd give it its day in Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast because April 19th is Garlic Day. Have we talked enough garlic for you?
Yes.
Okay, let us continue then. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a fan-based podcast on the ABC television show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the multiple Marvel small screen series like the Netflix series Jessica Jones, which will be completing season 2 this episode, and the Marvel Cinematic and comic book universes in general.
Because of hot yoga.
If you'd like to talk to us about steamy hot yoga in your living room, you can catch us at our website at legendsofshield.com.
You can leave us a voicemail at 844-THE-BUS-1. That's 844-843-2871.
You can message us on our Facebook page at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Podcast to talk about yoga.
You can find us on Twitter at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You can leave a message for us on our episode on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/GonnaGeek, all about the correct placement of yoga mats in your living room.
You can tell your Amazon device to enable Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. skill.
And remember, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a proud member of the GonnaGeek.com network. Now, Michelle, we don't have Agent Lauren with us tonight.
Nope.
She is at home sick and for the night, and we don't have Agent Haley back yet because Fitz hasn't fixed her computer yet.
Well, he's been through some time. He's been through a lot.
He has, so we'll give him a pass at not getting into Agent Haley's computer, but they are not with us tonight. We're hoping to have a more rounded S.H.I.E.L.D. cast next week, but you never know what's going on with the world, and we'll see what happens. In the meantime, Michelle, are you ready to talk about the complete Jessica Jones season 2.
Yes.
Jessica Jones season 2, the entire season, premiered on Netflix March 8th, 2018. It included the finale episode, aka Playland. I don't know. I mean, if you're watching from front to back, I'm not sure. I guess you could, because it drops on midnight, so you could get through the whole thing in one day. Anyway, why don't you run down the creative team for the episode Playland, Michelle?
This episode was directed by Uta Briesewitz, has 27 directing credits starting in 2010, including 1 episode of Weeds, 4 Awkward, 5 Jane the Virgin, 2 The 100, 1 Iron Fist, 1 Black Sails, 1 of the Defenders, 2 Jessica Jones, 2 Stranger Things, and 2 of the upcoming The Wheel of Time. The story was by Jesse Harris, has 2 writing credits starting in 2012. For Jessica Jones, she's been the staff writer in 12 episodes, has written 1 episode, and has a story by credit for 1 episode. And the teleplay was by Melissa Rosenberg, 22 writing credits starting in 1993, including 3 episodes of Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, 3 Dark Skies, 5 of The Agency, 1 Birds of Prey, 2 of The OC, 8 Dexter, 1 Red Widow, and 3 Jessica Jones. And she's also the creator of the show.
And Jessica Jones is based on the Marvel comic of the same name by Brian Michael Bendis and Michael Gaydos. Michelle, aka Playland. It is the title of the episode, and we often link the title of the episode to the theme of the episode. So what do you got for me this week?
They end up in an amusement park called Playland.
Okay, I can't argue with that. That is actually what happens. I would think that maybe there's a little bit more like Playland, like Jessica's mom just didn't have reality in her mind. She never really has this whole time. And I don't know if it's her fault or not, but you can consider this whole road trip to be a Playland of hers because she just didn't think everything through until the very end.
It's true. She does have this delusion for a moment of her and Jessica being this superpowered female duo, perhaps in unitards, perhaps not, perhaps capes, but no capes. Reality, no capes. Going around, saving people, delivering food to the poor, and all these fantastic things. And Jessica's trying to ground her in reality, but really didn't do a good job until a certain phone call.
And even then, she was overpowered by family and the fact that she had her mom back and stuff like that. And that played out at the end. Very horrific, actually. I don't know if it was going to end any differently had Trish not intervened, but it was pretty horrific at the end. It really was. And I was looking at the time of the episode. There was about 15 minutes left when the ultimate scene happened between Trish, Jessica, and her mom. There was a lot that had to be taken care of after that scene. It wasn't like the ultimate scene and that was it. There was 15 minutes of wrap up that needed to occur and set up for season 3, because at that time they knew they were going to have season 3 of Jessica Jones.
True.
Yeah. But let's start with the road trip. You're in the Winnebago. You're doing a Witch Mountain with mom. And we talked about that last time. And you're taking the road trip. And Jessica really just wants to take her mom in. She wants her to be behind locked doors, locked bars in the raft and to be back there. And she was having nothing of it.
No. She took Jessica. She was trying to get Jessica to realize, I'm your mom, I'm your family. We need to be together. You can control me. You can be my cure. Then she told Jessica that Jessica didn't have much of a life and that she was going to be her cure because Jessica just drinks all the time. But that was a lot to put on Jessica. You're my cure. No, Jessica's just your daughter. She doesn't need to be the mom. You're the mom.
She'd done it with like a decade with Carl, and she knows Carl. Alyssa is Jessica's mom, and she knows that Carl is gone. He's dead. And that's why she went on a rampage to begin with. And she knows she needs another stabilizing factor, and she's looking for Jessica for that, and she just isn't getting it, that it's not going to work. That's the setup that we have going into this episode. And with 1 hour left, I knew it wasn't going to end pretty. I didn't know. And you had said like 4 episodes ago, so 8 episodes of Jessica Jones ago, you said Trisha's gun is very important. And you were trying not to give away anything. I didn't give it a second thought. I probably should have. And I just didn't see it coming. I didn't see it wrapping up that way. In the first time that you watched this, did you see that happening from the beginning of this episode?
No, because Trish was in the hospital in New York City. Jessica and her mother were on the road for some time. My head was trying to figure out, one, how Trish could have gotten out. Okay, look, people, when you get in the hospital and that whole people just ripping out, you do not just rip out an IV. Putting an IV in takes a lot of skill. Taking out an IV takes even more skill. I've had plenty of IVs in me, unfortunately. You just don't do it. They're not hooked up like that way you see with that's just like a little Band-Aid or whatever. No, it's this complicated thing, and you just can't do that. And there she is in the hospital. The cops had just questioned her. Her mother was there. There are fans. How could she have gotten out of the hospital with no one noticing? What car did she take? When did she get her gun? I guess her gun was, okay, let's say her gun was still in her purse or in her car. How did she get to her car without Dorothy noticing? Because Dorothy didn't want her to go anywhere. So it wasn't that Trish did it. I can understand why Trish did it, and I can see why Trish thought she had to do it. It wasn't that part. My brain was just going, how the F did she get there?
The whole thing about, first of all, let's just back up a second, the medical stuff. Yeah, the first thing you do when you wake up and you have oxygen that's flowing into your nose, the first thing that you do is rip that out. No, it's there for a reason. There is some medical reason that it is put there. You just don't wake up and then just take that off, let alone the IV. I mean, I would never take out an IV by myself. I would if it was like a Walking Dead sort of situation. Remember the first episode of The Walking Dead where he's stuck in the hospital and he's got to take it out? I mean, that's one thing, right? But if you actually have medical personnel, there's no reason for you to yank that sucker out on your own. And oxygen, okay, that can be taken off, but it's there for a reason. Just leave it on there until they tell you that you can take it. I completely agree with that. Dorothy, she is being controlling. This is about her worst scene as a person that I've seen of Dorothy. She's being very controlling. She's telling Patsy that she is going to basically reconstitute her life, that she was going to stage manage her life, and that don't do anything until I tell you to do it, that sort of thing. It was just horrendous watching her trying to control her adult daughter like that. It's just, you don't do that. That's overbearing, over controlling parents, and just doesn't need to be there. And Dorothy needs to understand that her daughter is, while needing help, is still an adult, and you just don't do that to other adults.
No, Dorothy wanted to take over the finances, actually called Trish. Here, Trish almost died. And her mother is like, well, you're this washed up, failed radio talk show host, so I have to rebuild who you are. I have to take over your money. I have to figure all this stuff out. I'm just sitting there going, she almost died. You're horrible.
Isn't she? I'm glad we don't get to see her for a while now until Jessica Jones season 3, because she's still around. Now, you asked the question, how did Trish get past Dorothy? Dorothy is forced to leave the hospital room by Detective Costa because he wants to talk to Trish alone. And Dorothy says, okay, I'm going to get your room ready for you. And I think she's talking about Trish's room at Dorothy's house. So Dorothy has left the hospital and gone to her house to get the room ready for Trish. And I think that is why Dorothy allows Trish to go away, because she's not there to stop her.
Okay.
However, I don't know where the gun is. Completely reasonable question. If it's in the car, is the car at Dorothy's house? I don't know. Is the gun in the purse? Wouldn't the cops have searched that? I just don't think that. Yes. And time-wise, absolutely right. So the RV is taking side roads, so it won't get caught on the freeway for wherever they're going. Or maybe they're driving in circles because Alyssa doesn't know where they're ultimately heading or whatever. Still, they've been gone for at least a day because she's driven all night and it's the next day. So they're a day away. How does Trish get there? Maybe she takes a helicopter from wherever. I mean, they're in New York, right? So maybe they take a helicopter somewhere so that, and she knows they're in Westchester. Still, that's a bit of a stretch.
But even if she gets a helicopter, people are going to know that she's coming there. Yeah, it's just time-wise. And okay, I am curious. So apparently Westchester is 43 minutes. Maybe I'm getting the wrong Chester. Anyway, is it Westchester? Yeah.
It was Westchester, but we don't know what state. We know that there's a Playland in there, but we don't, it could be fake.
But still, it doesn't work out time-wise.
Yeah.
It doesn't, because Costa asked her, and then he actually, makes that phone call. Oscar, and that's another thing. How did Oscar get there? How did Oscar get up there? He says, nobody followed me. It's like, you can't take the subway to this diner. I don't see you having, okay, look, everyone, you need to understand how New York City works. It's expensive. All capital letters. It is expensive to just have a tiny little apartment. There's a reason why Malcolm, after he gets the really big job, doesn't move out. It's really expensive. And that's just for an apartment. In order to have a car, you have to, of course, own the car, pay for insurance, which it's New York City. That's going to be high. You also have to pay for parking. It's it's that building, you're not going to get a parking spot for free. You're not. It's not going to be one of those places where it's like, oh, you have your apartment and here's parking. No, I lived in Chicago for a couple of years. People would have to pay an extra $200 a month for parking at their own apartment complex. And that's Chicago. You just don't own cars in a place like Manhattan in New York City. There's a reason why there's a ton of taxis and the subway is so important. How did Oscar get there?
I don't know. With Trish, you might say maybe her superpower includes super speed, but Oscar doesn't have super speed. So I don't know. It's and you don't know where the diner was. It's somewhere near the water, but you don't know where. So I don't know. I'm not going to try to geographically put everything there. It's just ugh. And then in the middle of that, you have a back road that there's not many passersby, that there happens to be an accident between a minivan and a truck full of flammable gas, that explosions are going off and there's no sirens, so it's out in the middle of nowhere, allegedly, right? And I don't know. It's all, I was thinking they were in like North Carolina or something when that happened. No, they were within an hour of New York City.
Yeah, which even if you travel all night, you're going to get a lot farther than that. And they were talking about going to Montreal, which that works. They really played fast and loose with geography. I know a lot of movies do that. There's, especially like when things take place in like Los Angeles, all of a sudden, you go 10 minutes from here to there and you're at the beach and all that type of stuff. And it's just like, you can't do it. Even I'm realizing, I don't know New York that well, but I know there's New York City, and then upstate New York is completely different. It has all beautiful trees and it's all, nice and with the trees and all that type of stuff, wider open spaces and such. And it's completely different. And that's where they seemed where they were. Because she was wanting to get papers, but then it's one of these things where you just have to take the geography and time and chuck it out the window, which really disappointed me because this season was so tight. The writing was so good. And then to just drop the ball like this is because it took me out of it for a bit, because when Trish did that, there was the moment and I wanted to feel the weight of that moment, but then my brain just went, where'd she come from? And you shouldn't have that type of moment.
We had the same discussion, if you remember, when we were talking about The Punisher. Remember? And we were talking about the trip to Kentucky and everything. So yeah, we've gone down this rabbit hole before in the Netflix series. And apparently anybody from New York thinks that anywhere else is within like 3 hours drive. And that is not the case. Anyway, you brought up in your because of the hot yoga. I don't know if it was hot, but hot in quotes, where Jerry Hogarth had her personal yoga instructor in her house. And I don't know about you, but whenever I think about personal yoga instructor, I think about actually getting instructed rather than facing away the whole time.
It depends on how long they've been together. In the beginning, yes, you have that one-on-one, but eventually, because I've actually taken yoga where the instructor is at the front and they're doing the move. Sometimes they're facing you, sometimes they're not, so they can actually show you the correct pose and such. So that part actually, and also it's Jerry. She was liking the view.
Yeah, she was. And at the end, it looked like Jerry was making a move and the yoga instructor was anticipating. It didn't make any move away or wasn't shocked and didn't make a comment afterwards other than I'll see you later sort of thing. It wasn't seductive when she said that, but it led me to believe that either they had advanced their instructor-student relationship beyond that already, or they were both anticipating it.
You never know. Also, when they opened the door, Malcolm was there. Perhaps the yoga instructor wasn't too sure of her policy on PDA, public displays of defection. So,
of defection or of
affection,
okay.
Public displays of affection.
I knew what you're trying to say. I heard defection. I was just wanting to make you qualify what it was in case I heard incorrectly. Detective Costa really talks Jessica down. If it was anybody else but Detective Costa at the end, when they're at Playland, everybody else was just totally afraid of them both, including Jessica. And Costa was like, no, she actually has handled this and I believe her, sort of thing. And it was amazing also to me, the amount of lack of a proper handling of the gun. So Trish shoots Jessica's mom. I don't know if we said that before or not, but Trish shoots Jessica's mom, kills her. One heck of a shot, by the way. She's on the ground and she's shooting up into the
moving Ferris wheel at night
with a handgun. It's not a long rifle, no scope or anything. So great shot, one shot. And then Jessica takes the gun. The residue is on Trish's hand. It's Trish's gun. If I'm the cops, I'm going to go and, do some investigation and try to get some prints off of, or residue or whatever off of Trish's hand. And Jessica doesn't fire. If Jessica would have just fired the gun at the ground a couple of times, then that would have solved everything. There might have been questions on why did you shoot the ground or whatever, but okay. And then the cop, Costa, just takes the gun without trying to wrap it in, basically puts his prints on it, and he hands it to another guy, the SWAT team commander, that just takes. So they completely ruined all the evidence on this gun.
I think Costa just wants to close the case. Jessica had the gun. Jessica killed her captor. Self-defense. Report written. The end. I know. It's just that the season was so good, and then it's this.
Kind of wrapped up really, really quick. And we lost a lot of the main characters along the way. Simpson, gone. Carl, gone. There's just a lot of death in this one compared to the first time around. It's pretty normal for the Netflix series itself, but Jessica Jones wasn't like this the first time around, except for the people that the Purple Man got rid of along the way. So, okay, maybe I'm just remembering it differently. He got to me. I'm brainwashed. But yeah, there was a lot of death in this, and then it just gets to the end, and you got like 4 characters. You got Jessica, her mom, you got Trish, yes, Trish's mom, and you've got Detective Costa. That's what we're down to it. Malcolm, I guess, Jerry.
Price.
Which Price came back out of nowhere. All of a sudden, he's the legitimate associate of Jerry at this time. And I can see that. I don't fault Jerry's decision at the end to go with Price versus Jessica. There's just too much that needed to be legitimate there.
And if we back up, Malcolm decides after he finishes fixing up Jessica's apartment, he actually finished it. Nice job. Turns in the key. Does the whole hair suit thing. Gets information. Goes to Jerry, and it's like, I have gotten information that Jessica said she was going to do. And Jerry has that wonderful moment where she gets to take her clients and double her severance pay and start her own firm. It seems as though the events when her mom died, when Alyssa died, to when we find out Jerry is trying to find new office space and Price comes in, it seems as though it's been probably at least a month, I'm thinking.
It's not overnight. You're absolutely right on that. There's some time that's in there. I mean, Trish is not blood soaked anymore. She's well cleaned off. And yeah, I would agree. It's been at least a couple of weeks, if not a month, like you say, in the epitaph, whatever, this epilogue of this season. And yeah, you've got a lot going on. You've got Jerry, with Malcolm's help, winning, whatever that really means, against her partners. Now, why she ever partnered up with them to begin with, I don't know. It was probably advantageous to her at the time, but she doesn't need them. And she's absolutely right. Beware of the woman or the person that has nothing else really to lose. Because when it comes down to it, what is money to her at this point? It's just time. It's an unknown amount of time for her, but it's shorter than she thought it was going to be. So it's like 2 to 5 years, and she's already ticked some of that away. She was able to use that information that Malcolm dug up for her to win against her partners and then start out on her own. And she's going to have an office on her own, and she's going to have Price with her. And whatever she's doing, and she's got Randa as a customer too, but whatever she's doing is not exactly above, because she tests Malcolm on it and he says, okay, I'm ready. Let's go. Do you know what she's up to?
No.
Neither do I. We'll find out in season 3.
It's Jerry. Who knows?
And Jessica, who doesn't really care about being a superhero, gets to be a superhero and foils a convenience store robbery without really using your superpowers, really.
Well, she threw that bottle.
Well, okay, so was it the speed of the throw that really knocked the guy down? Because if I'm going to get hit in the head by a bottle, I'm going to go down. I don't care, especially a full bottle of alcohol like that. I'm going to go down. It doesn't necessarily have to be a superpower.
True. But she got to throw that bottle. I like how she tried to take the whiskey as payment. And he's like, no.
I'd be like, and then she come, being an upstanding citizen, she's like, fine, I'll pay for it. But I would have been like, yeah, this is my reward for the point that you're not dead and you're not in prison for killing somebody else. So yeah, I'm fine. She doesn't say any of that. She just chalks it up and actually pays. So I don't know. It's hard to see Jessica's motivation from time to time, but the Jessica at the beginning of the season would have just taken the bottle.
True. And also, we're not sure why she was taking photos of that person. That also could be a setup. We're assuming that she's gone back to just adultery people, but I think it might have been a little bit more.
Yeah, and for a listener or viewer, I just want to qualify again, neither of us have seen any of the Netflix stuff at this point or beyond. Actually, none of the 4 of the main Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. hosts have seen anything beyond here, because this is as far as you got, and you were the most advanced of any of us.
Correct.
So we don't know, you bring up a great point. We don't know what is leading up to different things, like what Jessica was doing. I assumed it was just an average run-of-the-mill divorce case or something like that, but you're right. It could have been something else. I don't know. And we've got at least another season in Jessica Jones. I don't know if she shows up in a cameo in any of the other series at this point. I don't think she does, but I don't know for sure. And I don't know if any of the other people do or not. I mean, Foggy showed up in one scene in this, and with Jerry's new law firm, who knows how Foggy's going to interface with that, but I see that happening again, even if it's just a quick scene with Foggy Nelson. And you have Jessica having dinner with Oscar and Vito, and honestly, I did not see that happening. I did not see that relationship being at the end of this season.
I kind of figured they had a chance when he miraculously showed up at that diner, and if Jessica was able to get out of the situation, I'm going, maybe she might still be with him. I like that she realizes that she's been cut off from a lot of people and that she wants to try with someone who knows what she's about, but she can kind of be fresh with, have like a nice clean slate, because it's going to take time for her to trust Trish again. She's on the outs with Malcolm, on the outs with Jerry. Yeah, Oscar's about it.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Now, when she looked at her clock and it was 7:00, I thought she was headed to the bar. I thought she was just going to hang out at a bar and have guys hit on her or something like that. I did not remember the standing invitation to go to dinner. Although if I would have remembered that at 7:00, that made more sense, because that was the one thing that was in the back of my mind as she was leaving. It was 7:00. I'm like, that's too early for her to go to a bar. She would have stayed at home and worked for another couple of hours at least, and then gone to a bar. I just didn't see the dinner, although I'm glad she's reaching out and I'm glad she's got somebody to go through. You still have the core 3, Jessica, Malcolm, and Trish, that are no longer core. They're no longer together. And with Trish, with her new whatever powers they are, could just be excessive coordination for all we know at this point. But whatever her powers are, she's got some powers, and we're going to see how that plays out in season 3 as well. So last shot at season 2 of Jessica Jones. Is there anything you want to bring up, Michelle?
I like the themes it explored this time. What is family? Her coming to grips with her past.
having Survivor's Guild, being able to work with that a bit. I did like this season. I know I had some gripes about this final episode, but overall, it's a solid season. It's different than season 1, which is what I liked. I don't like it when they copy and paste and it's the same thing over and over again. But it did connect to season 1. It had good character growth for Jessica. I think it was a solid season.
I think one of the reasons why they were able to grow and expand upon season 1 is that season 1 wasn't an origin story. It was bam, we got Jessica Jones in the middle of it. Yeah, we had some flashbacks, like when she broke the bathroom sink in the home of Dorothy and Trish, but we didn't really see the stuff that we saw this time around, where you saw Jessica in the clinic and you saw what happened to her mom, and you got the full backstory behind IGH and what had happened, so that they were able to build on that. And with the first 2 seasons, you basically get the origin story of Jessica Jones without getting the origin story of Jessica Jones. I think that worked well. That intertwined well as the story is progressing forward. I don't think there's anything more in the past that they need to go back into in season 3. I think they need to go forward at this point in time, but who knows? We'll see what they got in store for us. Well, due to time constraints in the schedule, normally our next thing would have been the very next series in Netflix, which would have been Luke Cage season 2. But because we have 5 weeks between now and something very important that we'll discuss later in the next segment, we are going to take Iron Fist season 2, 2 episodes at a time. And that is the next thing we'll do. And then we'll come back after our next project and come back and get Luke Cage season 2. So that's the plan. Next time we'll discuss Iron Fist season 2 episode 1, The Fury of Iron Fist, and season 2 episode 2, The City Not for Burning. I'm looking forward to that. You looking forward to that?
Yes, because I've heard that season 2 is much, much better than season 1.
Exactly. That's why I'm looking forward to it. In the meantime, we got some news to talk about.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is coming back May 27th.
Woo, got a date, and I think ABC is killing themselves by not pushing it forward, but okay, May 27th, yay.
It's a Wednesday, and it's 10 p.m. That's late.
I made a joke in our Discord server when this news came out, because a lot of people were hailing it, and saying it was great, it's coming back, but everybody was questioning why the 10 p.m. I made a joke. I have no information about this. I said, yeah, they have to do it at 10 o'clock because of the nudity. Nobody took me up on that joke. They all thought I was serious. There is no nudity on network TV.
No, there's not.
I am really looking forward to this. On Instagram, as soon as this announcement came out, there started to be a lot more posts from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Marvel Instagram account, because it's the only new thing that they've got coming out, because everything's been pushed back. So this is it. And it's been in the can for a year. So we were all wondering why they didn't move it up. For whatever reason, they decided not to move it up past May and May 27th. So it'll be a summer thing, and I'm looking forward to it. And there's just been a ton of photos out there. So if you're living under a rock and you haven't gone onto the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. accounts on social media or the Marvel accounts on social media, go ahead and check it out. You'll see some amazing stuff. And I don't want to get too much into it, because our next news story actually does go deeper into it. So what do you got for us?
Well, we have an Agent Carter connection coming up in season 7. Enver Jagokaj never expected to play Agent Carter's Daniel Sousa again after the Marvel Series 2 season run ended in 2016. Thankfully, fate had other plans. Entertainment Weekly reported exclusively that he will guest star as Sousa in the 7th and final season of ABC's Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And remember last summer, season 6 ended with Daisy, LMD, Phil Coulson, and their crew jumping back to 1931 New York City in a modified Zephyr because the Chronicoms were planning to attack S.H.I.E.L.D. at different points in time. The team's timey-wimey farewell adventure in season 7 will eventually lead them to cross paths with Sousa. Maybe we'll get a sort of coda wrap up with Agent Carter, which got canceled too soon.
I can't imagine them not wanting to do this. Now, this was the last thing that Jeff Loeb really did before he went out the door. I mean, I guess the last couple of seasons of Cloak and Dagger and Runaways. Cloak and Dagger and Runaways. I think he had a hand in that too, but this is the last thing. So if you're trying to wrap up everything that you've done on the small screen, I can't imagine them not wanting to wrap up Agent Carter, because Agent Carter was canceled, even though it is a fan favorite. And yeah, let's just give it the ending it deserves rather than the cliffhanger that we got at the end of season 2. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and I'm looking forward to the wrap up of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I just want to point out, LMD Phil Coulson happened before season 1 of Picard. I just want to point that out.
I know. And it's the third resurrection of Coulson.
That's true. All right. I'm looking forward to new content. I'm looking forward to wrapping this all up. And I'm looking forward really to the next MCU movies that come out, even though that they've been pushed back, at least for now. I don't know. I think if movie theaters continue to be closed, which I don't think they will at this point, but if they do in the fall, if they're closed, I think we're going to see some home releases of these movies. But it's way too soon to speculate. How many episodes are in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 7? Do you know?
13.
13 episodes. I'm going to savor each one. But all things must come to an end. That will be the end of what started in 2013. 7 lovely years. All right, any other news, Michelle?
Nope.
All right. Looking forward to Iron Fist next week. In the meantime, I think what we're going to do is we're going to pull off kind of a similar thing that Jessica Jones and Malcolm did in the hallway, and we're just going to ignore each other on the way out. I hope everybody has enjoyed our foray into Jessica Jones season 2. We will complete the rest of the Netflix stuff, and we're looking forward to whatever Disney Plus brings us whenever they actually get to bring to us as well. But we got plenty of content to cover, so Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going nowhere right now.
Thank you to everyone who is still listening through when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back. It's been 42 weeks between, I was keeping count of hiatus week. So thank you for downloading and listening to us during this drought.
Until next time, I am Director SP.
And I'm Agent Michelle.
See everybody next time. I'm not going to ignore you. I can't ignore you.
No, I know.
We tried.
And yes, that is a goatee.
For now.
For now.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to gonnageek.com and you will find all our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod, found at incompetech.com, and also artists on pond5.com and audiojungle.net. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual hosts and do not represent Stargate Pioneer Productions, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., or Gonna Geek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation, Marvel Studios, and ABC. No infringement is intended. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is copyright 2013 through 2020.